Hey guys, important thing to talk about here today. So if you listen real close, the weatherman said that it was supposed to rain. They said it was going to be really big storms, really big storms. I was supposed to watch the news all the time, but if you listen right now, can you hear any rain? Can you hear any rain, guys? Hear any rain in the roof? That's right. There's no rain because the weatherman lied. A lot of times people say, oh, the weathermen lie because they want people to watch the news. The more people watch the news, the more people watch advertisements, the more money they get. But, that's not why the weathermen lie. The weathermen lie for a completely more insidious purpose. The weathermen lie because the government wants them to lie, because they want to condition you. They want to condition you to accept things that aren't true as reality. Look, take it this way. Take it this way. You hear a lot about fake news. You hear a lot about how fake news is gonna switch. It's gonna make people think things that aren't true are true, right? And that's exactly what the weatherman is doing. Right? The weatherman is a government order, the PSYOP. It's a psychological operation to get you to accept things that aren't true as reality. Take it this way, right? You hear that it's gonna rain. You hear that it's gonna rain, so you go outside and it doesn't rain, but you still think, oh, I guess I should trust the weatherman, even though he's wrong. And then the next day he says it's gonna snow 4 inches. It's gonna snow 4 inches. You go outside, oh, it only snowed half an inch. But you know what? You still trust the weatherman. You still trust the weatherman, even though he's constantly lying to you. He says it's gonna be super windy. It's gonna be super windy. You go outside and it's not super windy. But guess what? You still turn it on and you still listen to the weatherman. The weatherman has complete control over you, even though he doesn't tell you things that match up to objective reality. You're being fed a false reality and you're believing it, and that's exactly what the weatherman is supposed to do. And this weatherman thing, it's completely more insidious when you figure out the ultimate goal of government, because the ultimate goal of government is total governance, right? They want to control everything. So if you think about the weatherman as just a single step to that, you'll see that the ultimate goal is international, intergalactic domination. And the intergalactic domination is very real, but this intergalactic cartel, right, the government's not actually going to tell you about it. What they're going to do is it's actually fake. So you see what this is a long story, but the government is actually they're taking aliens, but they're not real aliens. Pretty soon in the short future, you're going to see aliens come out of the government. They're even prepping it right now. The Congress is supposed to brief. They're supposed to be briefed about everything we know about UFOs, but they're making that stuff up. That's not actually real. They wouldn't tell you the real stuff, because why would they tell you the real stuff? Because you can believe the fake stuff, right? The weatherman says it's gonna rain 20 inches. You go outside and it's not even wet, but you still believe it because they're the weatherman. That's how authority works, right? That's how journalism works. There are no investigative journalism anymore. All the journalists do is they just repeat authority, because authority is what journalists do. They don't investigate things on their own. They find someone who's supposed to have governmental authority, and they find what they say and they say it to you. It's like, what's even the point? Let me just see what the government says on Twitter, right? But anyway, back to the whole alien thing, right? The big thing about these aliens is it's sort of like technology. They're going to use alien technology prowess as a reason to sort of pass policy and enslave their populations. Because look at it this way, right? You have aliens, and the big thing about aliens is the technology that aliens have. And when you think about alien technology, you have one of two things. You have an alien species that's going to be either significantly less advanced than mankind, or you have an alien species that's going to be significantly more advanced than mankind, because of the way that technology progresses, right? Look at the last 100 years of technology. The last 100 years of technology, we've arguably had way more advancements than in the last 2,000 years of technology, because technology, it goes straight up. Well, not straight up, it goes exponentially. It exponentially increases based upon the year. So we've had more advances in the last 100 years than probably the last 2,000 years, or 3,000 years, 4,000 years, because technology just advances upon itself, right? Flight 100 years ago, now we have jet engines, now we have jet airplanes, we have supersonic airplanes, we have airplanes that are in the stratosphere, things like that. Or on the other hand, you have technology. It was at a snail's pace for the longest time. Single cell organisms. What technology did single cell organisms come up with? They didn't come up with much. But it took a long time for single cell organisms to become multicellular organisms, right? So that's at the end of the day, that's what this whole thing is about. So most likely, if we find any other life in the universe, well, there is. But if they want to tell you about other life in the universe, might want to show you is these single cell organisms. But you know, but you can't have single cell organisms exert kind of intergalactic authority, right? Because the whole point of government is to govern completely. So you have divine right, guys. Divine right is it's authority given by God. You can't argue with that. How do you argue with someone says God gave me this authority? You can't argue with God. But it's the same way as there's going to say that there's the galactic right. You're going to say, look at these aliens, but you can't argue with the aliens, because How are you supposed to argue with something like an alien that's so far advanced? And that's exactly what the government's trying to do right now. They're trying to take aliens, and you're gonna come out with fake aliens, guys. Trust me. Human animal hybrids. You heard about those things? Alex Jones talked about those things. But they're not false. Human animal chimeras, right? They've been making them with pigs. People have pigs vows in their hearts and stuff like that. These things are actually real. So you're gonna see that there's gonna be these creatures, and they're humanoid. They're actually people. They've been genetically engineered. Genetically engineering, that's just not for corn. That's just not for soybeans. They're doing it on people. They have these people in these tubes, and they're actually people, but they're gonna find out that they're aliens, right? So the government's gonna say that they're aliens, but they're really people. So they're gonna say, look at these things, they're aliens. We have to listen to them, and the aliens are gonna prescribe things for government. The aliens are gonna prescribe public policies, and if you have these super advanced things, look at the government saying, "Oh, look, these aliens are super advanced. You can't disobey these aliens because that would look poorly, right?" We have a pro science cult where you have to believe science. You have to believe science. If you say, "Oh, look, these aliens, they've traveled to thousands of light years, millions of light years to get here," they have to be somewhat advanced. So to just disregard aliens. If an alien says, "Hey, do we got this global warming? You got to do something with global warming," you have to listen to the policy at that point, because the aliens, they're intergalactic right. These aliens are telling you what to do, and you have to listen to the aliens. And this is just gonna be a never-ending new world order, an alien world order, but it's actually all going to be led by the United States government. And I mean, you can't blame them. It's going to be the United States government and Israel. They're going to be using these human animal chimeras. They're going to send them around like the Pope in glass containers, and that's how they're going to be. That's how the information is going to be disseminated, and no one's going to be allowed to test them, right? No one's going to be allowed to test these aliens, because if they tested the aliens, they find out that they were actually mostly human with a few spliced genetic traits of animals. So these aliens, they're going to be kept under close lock and key by the United States, and there's only going to be a few people who are actually knowledgeable about this. I mean, there are a few people who are knowledgeable about this. I know a few of them, but that's not the point. I shouldn't be divulging that kind of information. But I mean, as you can tell right now, there's no rain. There's no actual aliens that the government is going to be working with publicly. They are working with them behind the scenes, but this is a type of alien demagoguery that they've learned of. They learned of this from different species, and they're employing it here on Earth so that they can get total control of us, so that we can work with the Intergalactic Cartel. And unfortunately, it's probably going to work, because how are we supposed to stop these aliens? Once these aliens come out, what are we supposed to do? The pro science propaganda that we see right now is just science, science, science. Oh, do you know anything about science? No, I people who promote science, they got F's all through school, they got D's through school. They don't know about a valence shell. They don't know anything about geology. They don't know anything about environmental science. They don't know shit, but they want to talk about these things because it makes them seem smart. And I don't like to talk about things that I don't know about, which is why I stick to things that I do know about, like this alien conspiracy, and like the intergalactic cartel, and interdimensional travel, because these things are these things not everyone can talk about. So the people who can talk about them really they have some type of responsibility to speak, which is what I'm trying to do now. And I know not a lot of people are going to listen to this, but it's absolutely important that this type of stuff gets out there, because it just gets overshadowed by things like twerking and the like. And we need this type of information out there. So if you're willing to at least share this with just one friend, maybe we can stop the aliens. It's really of utmost importance, because once we have the United States, everything the United States pushes at this point, they have a cultural hegemony on the whole world, right? People used to say that France, they have all these paintings, they have all this wine, they have cheese. France doesn't do anything at this point. At this point, Japan has more of a cultural dominance on the world than France. I mean, it's basically the United States, and then Japan, and then I don't know, that's pretty much it. I mean, you have a soft hegemony. Hello Kitty has more cultural impact than Cabernet Sauvignon, or any of that French stuff, or brie cheese. Brie cheese is nothing compared to Hello Kitty or anime. So Once the United States pushes this, especially if we can get someone like Japan on board. If Japan gets on board, then it's absolutely over. But the United States and Israel is going to be mostly pushing this in Europe, while the United States is going to focus on Latin America. You know, the Monroe Doctrine. They're going to be traveling around Latin America, South America. They're going to be all those places trying to convince people of this. And you know, at the end of the day, you're probably going to be pretty successful, because I mean, look at that in America, and you have a lot of very Catholic people, very people who want to obey and order from the top, you know, order from the Pope. You're going to see order from the aliens. Aliens are going to be the new Pope. I'm telling you guys, aliens are the new Pope. They're not real, but this is what they are real, but not this alien. This alien that the government's pushing, it's going to be fake. Trust me, 2 to 4 years, you're going to see aliens. They're not real. Don't believe the aliens.